Hey YouTube, it's your girl Leah, back again with another video. This time coming on here with another foundation review Friday. And this foundation is not a new foundation, but it's probably one of the newest foundations that I am reviewing on this channel. You guys know I've been doing oldie but goodies, but today I have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundations. Now they do have that little new sticker on it, so kinda it's new, but if you guys are familiar with my channel, I don't do first impression video. I know that the way you feel about a foundation in the first impression usually isn't how you always feel about that foundation going forward. So what I do is I wear a foundation, I wear it out for a week, I test it with different primers, with different applicators, all that, and then I come on here at the end of the week and let you guys know how it performed on me. Now I take my notes on this foundation, so at any point you guys see me looking down, I'm looking down at my notes on the foundation. You guys know I'm very thorough with my information. I want to give you guys the best information as it came for me. So some of the stuff I say may not be relevant to you guys if you guys have a different skin type than me, or you guys have a different, maybe even skin tone than me, but I try to give whole rounded information to help everybody, all you guys out there, because I want you guys either to save your money or to splurge on a product, which this isn't that much of a splurge. It was like $5.99, $6.99. Without further ado, let's just get into my review. And if you guys have any questions about my skin tone, check the bottom bar. I list every foundation I've done so far in this series and what shade I am in that foundation. So if you guys are trying to gauge what shade you may be by looking at my videos, check the description box, because I have like 13 foundations that I've reviewed so far. So now let's get started. Now the claims for this foundation, the website says, well, first let me tell you about the price. Now I went to the store, I went to Walgreens or CVS to find my foundation, and the darkest shade they had in there was Desert Beige. Now I bought it because I was like, this is the darkest shade, but it looks like it's my shade match. You know, I opened it up in the store, which you know you're not supposed to, but I opened it up, I tested it out on my hand, I was like, oh, this looks perfect. Then I got home and tested out in real lighting, and it was not perfect. So I got Amber Beige, which is very light. I got Desert Beige, which was one shade up, and it's still very light. And then I went home after I, bought this, tested it out at home. I ordered online from Wet n Wild one of the darker shades that I felt would suit me better, and it's Toffee. Now Wet n Wild, it's $5.99 on the Wet n Wild website. I got the two from the drugstore for $6.99, so it was $1 more at the drugstore, which that's how drugstores always are. You know, they love their markups. They love to get their extra coin in. These are good foundations in terms of letting you know really what the shade is at the bottom of it, and I hope it picks up on camera. It tells you a little bit, it tells you the shade name, but then it also lets you know it's medium dark and it's a neutral. The Amber Beige is medium dark neutral, Desert Beige is medium dark warm, and then Toffee, the shade that I'm using today, is a medium deep neutral. And I think that's perfect that they have a warm, a cool, and a neutral line. That's something you don't see a lot of the times in drugstore foundations, which is amazing. There are 4 shades darker than Toffee, so the shade range for this isn't that good. They had so many shades in the drugstore. I was like, wow, I am so impressed with CVS. That's why I walked up from a distance. I was like, wow, they have all the shades here. And then I got up, and the darkest shade there is Desert Beige. So they really don't have an impressive shade range in the drugstore. They don't have they have an okay shade range. I think to have 20 shades is okay. I don't think for them to have 4 darker than my shade is okay, but you know, I always go on my rants about drugstore and their color shades and their shade selections and them not being there, but what can I do? The site claims our new high-performing skin perfecting foundation underwent major road testings under 7 different photo light conditions to deliver flawless camera-ready makeup every time, specifically made with matte light diffusing complex to give your skin #no filter perfection. It claims to have no flashbacks. It claims to, you know, work well in the camera. It has this whole girl in one lighting and then one girl in the same girl in another lighting to show, oh yeah, we tested this foundation and it's gonna give you no flashbacks. You're gonna be loving this. And it doesn't have SPF, which sometimes SPF does cause a lot of flashbacks, so that's a good thing. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the testing of this foundation. Now, like I said, I tell you guys what worked best for me. I have dry skin, as you guys know, so I look probably very shiny on camera right now, not because I have oily skin, but because I moisturize heavily. Now, I've filmed this video before. I last week filmed my whole Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation review and all this, that, and the third, and it came out terribly. And so now I'm re-recording it because I just did not like it, and I'm a perfectionist when it comes to something. So this is my second take with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. But I said in that video, and I'll say it again, the applicator that worked best for me this week was the Beauty Blender sponge. Now mine is damp right now because I'm about to use it, but the brush with me, it just left me too streaky. I'm like I said, I'm a dry skin kind of girl, so the Beauty Blender in most cases always works better for me with some foundations, but with this one specifically, it does say matte, you know, in the claims and all that, and it definitely provides a matte finish. So when you're a dry girl using a foundation that is geared towards, I guess, a more oilier skin tone, you have to, you know, make precautions. That's why in this video I'm not going to use the normal primer that I always use. I always use the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. Not going to use that today because this silicone-y kind of feeling primers really didn't work well with me this week with this foundation. What I found worked best are the kind of more liquidy, or not liquidy, but creamier kind of primer. So like the MAC Prep and Prime is the primer that I'm going to be using today with this foundation. So I'm going to prime my face. I'm going to do a swatch of amber beige against my skin tone. Now, you guys can see this it has a spatula, which at first I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. I thought I was going to hate it. I actually really like the spatula. It's unsanitary if you're using your foundations on other people, but if you're using it on yourself, I don't think it's that bad of a deal. One thing I never hear people talk about though in these reviews is the smell. Do I have the most smelliest ones or not? Like, they smell like straight up paint to me. You get over it very easily, but I have never seen, like in all the videos that I've seen, I've maybe seen one person mention the smell. It smells like paint. Like, I don't know why nobody is talking about this. Like, you can smell it. But this, just so you guys can see, this is what amber beige looks like. Way too light. Now the next shade up, which the darkest shade they had in my drugstore, was Desert Beige, and I'll show you what Desert Beige looks like. Once again, still too light. And then the shade that I'm going to be using today, which is the medium deep neutral shade, is Toffee. And Toffee just seemed to suit my skin better, so that's what I'm going to be going with. So let me just get to applying. So I've finished applying the foundation, and this is how it looks. If you're seeing a luminosity to it, it's just because of all the moisturizer I use. It's just because of all the primer that I use. Everything is kind of moisturizing my face and giving it a luminosity that will go down in a minute. The foundation is a very matte finish foundation. So after I apply the rest of my face, you guys will see how it looks with all the rest of my products and the matteness that I'm talking about. So it's gonna kind of settle down. I'm gonna go apply the rest of my face and then come back and then tell you guys what I think. So now I am back. I have applied the rest of my face, as you guys can see, and I'm going to give you my final kind of thoughts on this foundation, because I used to come back, show you guys how I look, then come back later and show you how it looks at the end of the day and tell you my final wrap up. But me being dry skin and looking at previous footage that I've filmed, I look the exact same at the end of the day. I'm dry skin using matte foundation, so for me at the end of the day they're still gonna look somewhat the same, if not a little bit worse, but somewhat the same. So you're gonna get the same kind of view from it, but my actual thoughts on it may not be what you guys are seeing on camera, because on camera foundations look wonderful, they look beautiful and all this, that, and the third, but in real life you guys want the real life perception, because you guys are going out or you're taking pictures and you're doing all this, and you guys want to know the real rundown on these foundations, and I'm going to give it to you. Now, I just applied, and I applied the rest of my face, and this is kind of how it looks. Now, about this foundation, things I noticed this week with this foundation. One, it does not settle into fine lines really at all, if not until later on in the day. Some foundations, they settle into my fine lines almost immediately. This foundation, I don't know what complex they use, and I don't know if it's the matteness of it. It doesn't settle into my fine lines almost until maybe 4 to 5 hours of wear, which is amazing for me. I do have very prominent smile lines because I'm a happy, joyous person. So you're gonna have smile lines. So my pros with this foundation, that the mention of the fine lines. I do love a foundation that is amazingly amazing and not settling into my fine lines. 2, it looks beautiful on camera. I hope it's picking up right now, but it's looking so effortless on camera. It is very much so a camera ready foundation. Now, about flashback, I take no flash photos. I never take a flash photo. If I can't take a photo in natural light or the lighting that comes in the room, I'm not taking it. I don't like flash just period photos, even if there's no flashback. I don't like dark room photographs, if that makes sense. So I can't really speak on the flashback portion of it, but I can say it looks effortless on camera, which is good. I think the last foundation I did, Maybelline Fit Me, did also look very beautiful on camera as well. The price tag of it is another pro. $5.99. Who can beat $5.99? This applicator of it, I love the spatula. I think that's a very brilliant idea. I do love pumps more, but if I had to go with, pouring, like I did have to do with the L'Oreal True Match and the Maybelline Fit Me, or spatula, I'm gonna choose spatula over every time. Applicator really worked well with this. I thought I was gonna hate it at first, but I really ended up loving it. I would say blendability of it, it's meh. Like, it's not hard to blend, but it's not the super easiest to blend that I've used so far. I think you definitely have to work fast with this product, which you do with a lot of other products. Cons, shade selection. As per usual, drugstore is not really there. If you're lighter toned than me, you have so many options with this foundation. So if you're watching this video and you're, a shade lighter than me, even NC42 and below, you guys are gonna find your shade match. It's incredible. There's almost, 14 shades lighter than my current shade. So you're good on that. If you're darker than me, you're gonna have a tougher time finding a shade selection that works well for you and that's not too orangey, not too yellow. Another thing about it that I hate is the mattness of it. It's very much so matte, and it does look like I have makeup on in person. If you saw me in person, you would definitely be able to tell that I do indeed have some foundation on. And I love more natural finishes. Now, this foundation does not claim to be natural finish. It does say it gives you a medium to full cover, or it doesn't say it gives you a medium to full coverage, but I've determined in this week that it does definitely give you a medium to full coverage. Definitely doesn't give you a sheer coverage. I do like more neutral, natural looking foundations for my everyday life, and that's because I'm not like a YouTuber by trade or Instagrammer by trade. I do work a normal job, so 40 hours a week I'm in front of people where I don't need to be made up. I work in a very, very, very professional atmosphere, so being overly done up sometimes isn't the best, and I love filming because I can actually do my makeup and look made up. So this is really for me a going out look. This would be more so not an everyday look for me, and I don't think this is an everyday foundation for me. Now, something that I've noticed this week, I really compare this foundation heavily to my Maybelline Fit Me foundation. Now, I know that's the most recent foundation review I did a foundation on, or a foundation review on, but it's so comparable to this. It's so comparable to this. This foundation, I believe, was $5.99, even though I did it like 2 weeks ago. Foundation $5.99. This one was also $5.99, so you get a very comparable thing. The shade range, very much so comparable to. I know it's not probably picking up on camera, but these shades, it does look a little bit lighter, but I found that 330 works best for me in the Fit Me, and they are kind of comparable. Now, I was 330 Toffee in the Fit Me, and then I'm in Toffee in the Wet n Wild. They both say Toffee, like, so they're very comparable shades. The glass bottle, the black lid. A lot of people say they compare this to the Makeup Forever HD foundation. No, I compare this to the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. The 1 fluid ounce, even though this one kind of looks taller, you get the same amount because the width is bigger on this one. Like I said, Fit Me, I'm 330 Toffee. This one I am Toffee in. They have similar names, so everything about the Fit Me and the Wet n Wild were similar to me. And nobody really talks about that, I noticed in the reviews, but maybe because I just did a foundation review video for this one, and I'll link it up above. I just did a review on this foundation and I can see the similarities between it. I actually, though, in my opinion, I love the Matte and Poreless by Maybelline much more than I do this foundation. And it's just a personal preference. I do feel like this one glided a lot better. This one was easier to find in my drugstore. I didn't have to order my shade online. This one, it's just a tried and true staple. It's been around for a while. Will I repurchase that? I think that's the question that a lot of people ask in my videos. Would you repurchase it? I actually would not repurchase the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. I just feel like it's too similar to the Maybelline Fit Me, and I love the Maybelline Fit Me a little bit more. If I had to choose one, I would always stick with the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. The Photo Focus, although it's cruelty free and they have a little rabbit on there, although it's been Photo Focus tested and all that, I don't think this will be my tried and true foundation. I will use up the product that I have here though, so I do like it enough to not to say I won't ever use this. I'll definitely use this again and use this up. However, if I had to repurchase one, I would definitely repurchase the Maybelline Fit Me. Love this foundation. So comparable. If you have one, you may not need to try the other. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about the foundation, anything you want to ask me, make sure you leave it down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Lavon89, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. So if you want to see any of the other foundation review series videos, just click the playlist over to your side, and then if you want to subscribe, make sure you click my little face also to the side. Thank you so much for watching.